Welcome to Direction Northeast. Hello, I'm Chris Mitchell. This program is a presentation of the Mass Communication Department of Northeast State Community College and is produced by students through the college's video production facilities. This series of programs is designed to bring you the student perspective on events and happenings throughout Northeast Tennessee. The program is a part of the classroom and laboratory learning process for students in broadcasting and advertising public relations part of the mass communications area. This edition of Direction Northeast is about loss, deep, profound loss of ability, skills, and function. But it is also a show about hope and recovery. Today's guest, Jason Crigler, talks about his life and recovery from a debilitating stroke in just a moment.
I've had a great experience at Northeast State. It has a lot to do with my teachers. They really set you up to succeed.
The cardiovascular technology program is one of 23 accredited programs in the United States. We have standards that are higher than other programs that we must meet.
With a new building and bigger facilities, it will enhance every student's experience.
The Regional Center for Health Professions, located in the new Kingsport Academic Village, houses all Northeast State's health-related programs. Northeast State, we're here to get you there.
I don't train like you.
I don't have the same skin issue.
I don't wear my hair like you.
I don't dance like you.
I don't come from the same place as you.
But I will give you CPR.
When you help the American Red Cross, you help America.
In 2004, guitarist Jason Crigler was a fixture in the downtown New York music scene, playing with a variety of new bands, as well as notables such as Marshall Crenshaw, Alla Bell, Teddy Thompson, Aaron McCowan, Linda Thompson, John Kell, and Nora Jones. One night, in the middle of a show, a blood vessel in Jason's brain burst open. When he awoke, doctors thought Jason would need to spend the rest of his life in a nursing home. Mr. Crigler, welcome to Direction Northeast. Tell us the rest of this story.
Well, there's a lot to the rest of the story. You basically described the events up until August 2004 when I was on stage performing and had this brain injury, this bursting of blood vessels in my head happened while I was on stage. And then from that point on, for a year and a half, I don't remember anything. So at that, but I was an inpatient in 4 different hospitals, and I had to relearn how to walk and speak and eventually play the guitar again, and it's just been an uphill climb since then. It's in many ways it's still ongoing. I still have things I work on, but it's just been a lot of focused, determined work, and I've been blessed to have my family close to me to help me with the whole recovery process.
And with you today is your sister, Marjorie. You've been by him, this whole time, correct?
Yeah, that's right. I received the dreaded phone call in the middle of the night on August 4th. My mom was on the phone. She said Jason had bleeding in his brain and I should get to the hospital. So, I got there and my parents were there. Jason's wife was there. She was 2 months pregnant at the time that this happened. And, when Jason wound up being in the hospital for a year and a week, and then when he came home from the hospital, there was another 8 months to a year of really intense, where everything was focused on his recovery, rehabilitation. And, I would say Monica, my sister-in-law, our parents, and I were, the core team. And then there were other people, friends, extended family, the medical community that supported us, sometimes helped us out by giving us some really dire predictions, which just made us feel defiant, because we believed Jason could make a recovery. So it really was a lot of people coming together, working together.
Well, let me go back, to before this happened. Before the stroke had happened, what degree of success were you enjoying as a performer or, musician in general?
Well, yeah. I had worked really diligently at sort of becoming guitarist, being able to work and sustain myself as a guitarist in New York City, and that meant playing shows, 3 to 5 nights a week in clubs in New York, or going on the road on tours. I mean, I was really systematic and very focused about it. If I wasn't performing, I would make it a point to go out to people who I liked their music or who I felt I could contribute to what they were doing, and I'd listen to their show and I'd introduce myself, and I was really in it. And then I was going on the road more, and so I guess I was starting to play with people who were bigger draws and who could afford to get me out on the road for weeks at a time, and I was starting to do more recording sessions with people who were, more well-known. So it was cool. Things were moving in a good direction,
And obviously, you're a great lover of music. How did this success, make you feel? Overall, was it the best, what you wanted out of life, or?
Yeah, it was sort of moving in that direction. I mean, I think that it's difficult when you're in that arena of being a sideman. You constantly have to be aware of, okay, what's the next gig? Where's the next gig going to be? It's a very sort of there's a lot of unknowns in that world, and I felt good that I sort of established good relationships with people, and I felt like I was providing something unique. I felt like what I was able to do on the instrument was something that was kind of a unique thing for those people at that time in that place, and that felt good to me. That's always been my goal as a musician, is to just create something that is my own voice, whether it's in composing or in performing or playing the guitar. I just wanted to have my thing. So it's like, well, if you want that, you got to get him. That's what I sort of was always going for, and I think I was getting that at that time.
And you'd become a pretty well-known sideman. Were you doing anything on your own, a solo, putting your own record together, writing your own songs?
I did. I had my own band. I had a band with my wife Monica called Goats in Trees, and we were performing. And then I also had my own band, which is just under my name, and we were playing more and more. And I had just put out my first record right before my injury happened, which is called Down Like Hail, and it was my trio, just recording a bunch of songs that we were doing at the time, and so that was ongoing too, and getting busier composing, composing music for films and for ads and things like that. That was happening at the same time. So there was a lot going. It was like juggling a lot of different balls at the time.
Right, and then obviously, you had your stroke happen. Medically, what happened?
Well, it was an arterial venous malformation, an AVM. It's a collection of blood vessels in my brain got tangled and burst, which led to severe bleeding in my brain. People have AVMs their whole life, and they're fine, they don't burst. And in some percentage of people, they burst open. And, so that was the initial thing. But then there were many complications that followed from that, which Marjorie can tell you in more detail. It's funny because that time is during a time I don't remember. So it's stuff I've learned, but it's not stuff I can remember.
Right. Well, Marjorie, if you could, you were there for it, and for the entire thing, before the accident, during the accident. How did that affect your family?
It made us closer, for sure. Our parents are divorced. When this happened, they'd been divorced about 15 years, and I would say we'd gotten to a point where we would all have holidays together. We would do Christmas all together and Thanksgiving, and they were starting to, they weren't even starting to. They'd gotten to a point of, being friends again. But this just accelerated now they're totally best friends. They hang out, they talk every day. We never consulted each other when Jason was first in the hospital, we never sat down and said, what do you think is going to happen, or what's our worst case scenario? We all just committed to doing everything that we possibly could do. And we agreed to go wherever that would take us. The only time we had a conversation about that was really like, what are we going to do, was about 5 months after Jason's stroke. His doctor recommended that Jason go to a skilled nursing facility. And we felt that that was a move in the wrong direction. He needed more aggressive treatment, not less aggressive treatment. And it was a turning point for us, because until then, we were beginners in this kind of thing. Like anybody else who's just thrown into a medical emergency. We didn't know that much about the brain. We didn't know that much about brain injuries or strokes. We didn't know anything about rehabilitation from an injury like this and all the complications, which included seizures and a coma and meningitis and on and on and on. But we were learning as we went. And so when the doctor first said, I think that it's time for Jason to go to a skilled nursing facility, we met in a diner, my parents, my sister-in-law and I, and we said, okay, that's not going to happen yet. First, we're going to go find a place that gives Jason more aggressive treatment. And how are we going to do it? Outside of the hospital, because the hospital is telling us to go to the skilled nursing facility. And so it just was really our own gumption. I mean, we just started making phone calls, anybody, just asking for advice. And that led us to this hospital in Boston called Spalding Rehabilitation Hospital, which was just exactly what we were looking for. A very positive atmosphere, very aggressive. And so we managed to have Jason admitted there, and we moved to Boston.
Let me go back a little bit. What was your initial reaction upon receiving the phone call, that Jason was in the hospital there?